Okay, so it's 12 o'clock, so we are going to begin. We appreciate people might join slightly late. So just wanted to start by thanking everyone for attending our first webinar. So today we're going to be looking at positive pathways for NEET individuals and how we can work with the AIM group to ensure everyone has an equal chance at success. So I'd just like to introduce myself and my colleagues. So my name's Polly. I'm with Esme here today. We sit on the marketing team at the AIM group. And we've also got Robbie with us today, who works with us across the foundation. So, things we're going to be looking at today. So, we're going to be having an introduction to the skills shortage and NEET in the UK. We're then going to be exploring whether NEET engagement can address this skills gap. We're then going to go on to the main points for discussion, which will involve early intervention at schools and forms of NEET engagement, diversity and inclusion, how we can create a clear pipeline of talent into your organisation, some case studies, some success stories from AIM so far. And to conclude, we will have time for Q&A and we can also discuss next steps. So, to begin, looking at the current skills shortages in the UK. So, unemployment rates are actually the lowest they've been since the 1970s, which is fantastic news. However, there's still no denying that this hasn't solved all of the issues across the labour market. In fact, while unemployment rates appears to be at an all-time low, it seems that companies are finding it increasingly difficult to hire the right workers. This phenomenon is obviously known as the skills shortage. So this is whereby there is a shortage of suitably skilled people in the labour market in comparison to the jobs that employers are offering. So this is an issue that seems to be fairly prominent across the UK labour market. The Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development carried out a survey across 1,250 UK employers, and almost 3/4 of them actually admitted to struggling to fill their vacancies in the first quarter of this year. So naturally, the skills gap is more prominent in some industries than others. At the end of last year, the Financial Times were able to identify the top 5 sectors that were affected the most. So these included the hospitality and leisure industry, particularly chef positions and retail positions, IT and construction as well. So there are many different contributing factors to the skills gap. So some may include the decline in the number of people attending catering colleges, in relation to the hospitality industry, in relation to the retail industry, the shift from brick and mortar to online shopping, and in relation to the IT and technical industry, the rapid growth of the tech industry leading to an increasing number of jobs. So as an employer or an organisation, there are many different effects the skills shortages can have. So some of these can include staff shortages, jobs left unfilled for months, incurred costs of having vacancies open for extended periods of time, workers with outdated skills, employers are having to increase wages to attract and retain employees, and of course all of the above can lead to a reduction in profits, performance and efficiency. So one of the most prolific government initiatives to bridge the skills gap was the introduction of the apprenticeship levy in 2017. So the stated aim was to increase the uptake of apprenticeships and to fill skills gaps that could worsen after Brexit. So at the end of this month, if employers haven't spent their levy payments, they will begin to lose them on a month-by-month basis. Opinions on the success of the levy do vary, with some organisations feeling that they're an effective way to bring new talent into the business. However, statistics show that around only 14% of funds in the levy pot had been spent in February of this year. So there's many different factors that have been blamed on this surprisingly low percentage. So this includes employers writing the levy off as just a tax, some employers waiting for their desired standards to be completed before spending, delayed timescales in businesses understanding and setting up the levy, and so on. Another key government initiative to tackle skills shortages includes the DWP's Hospitality Works campaign that launched earlier this year and was aimed at encouraging younger audiences to consider a career in the hospitality industry. So we're now going to explore NEET Individuals in the UK and how and what is happening across the country with young people and out of work.
Thanks, then, Polly. So, yeah, the term NEET, as I'm sure you're aware, refers to young people who are not in education, employment or training, specifically those that are aged 16 to 24. As mentioned, whilst unemployment rates across the UK are on the decline, it appears that the number of unemployed young people within this younger age bracket is actually on the rise. The ONS reports that the number of young people who were considered not in education, employment or training in February 2019 had risen by 0.3% in comparison to the previous year. Additionally, research carried out by London Youth last year shockingly highlighted that up to an additional 480,000 young people were not included in these figures, and they are referred to as hidden NEET young people. And this is due to deficiencies in the way that the government tracks and supports school leavers. These are young people who are not engaging with any statutory services, typically living at home, and therefore not on the government's radar, and may only be receiving support through the third sector. In 2018, the Department for Education released a report highlighting the most common characteristics for individuals who are considered to be long-term NEET, which refers again to those 16 to 24-year-olds who have been out of employment or education for 1 to 3 years after finishing Key Stage 4, which is years 10 or 11 at school. There are a range of common factors that appear to make an impact, including exclusion, higher rates of school absence, growing up in deprived areas, parental poverty, and many more. But the common issues that we see with the young people we work with, or when we engage with them, are a lack of academic achievement, not because these young people aren't smart or intelligent, but more often because school just didn't work for them. A lack of aspiration, as many of these young people grow up without positive role models to show them what is possible. A lack of meaningful support, as they are often failed by a strained statutory system that can't cope with varied or complex needs. And finally, a lack of visible opportunity. A significant reduction in the support and guidance for school leavers, and the combination of the above factors leave many young people feeling that opportunity is beyond their grasp. There are hundreds of thousands of young people who do not start life on a level playing field, and the odds are stacked against them. They face barriers many of us will have never experienced or ever fully understand, and they lack the support and development that many of us take for granted. However, given the right support and opportunity, many of these young people can overcome their disadvantage and create positive futures for themselves.
Okay, so we're now going to be exploring whether engaging with NEET individuals can help to address the skills gap. This would involve us looking at some of the engagement strategies we do, early intervention, and how this can give young people the opportunity to train and gain employment in a range of industries, allowing sectors to benefit from new and qualified talent. So at AIM, a lot of our work is focused around inspiring, developing and empowering. We believe in a preventative approach as well as a reactive one, and one of the key ways to do this is through school engagement. So this involves working with students before they fall into that NEET bracket. So we currently work with 2,500 schools across England, educating students, teachers and parents about apprenticeships and the opportunities they can provide to school leavers. A report published by Red Row Homes in 2018 found that only 21% of students surveyed felt that they had received high quality careers advice. This fell from 27% the previous year. So this means that 3/4 of students surveyed felt that they weren't aware of all of the options available to them upon leaving school. This could potentially mean that many students are only choosing career paths that are presented to them and are missing out on opportunities they may be better suited to. Many schools are still pushing students down the traditional route of A-levels and then on to university, but university dropout rates are steadily on the rise, and data published by the Higher Education Statistic Agency found that the highest rates of dropouts came from students considered to be disadvantaged. Students feeling pressured to go to university and struggling with the academic structure and workload could find themselves having to leave, meaning they then fall into the NEET bracket. At AIM, we believe that early intervention is crucial to ensuring that students and parents are aware of all of the options available to them following on from full-time education, meaning they're able to make the best choice suited to them, minimising these dropout rates. Our school engagement officers don't believe in just visiting a school and handing out leaflets. We have a very comprehensive engagement strategy that encompasses informing, changing perceptions and providing support. Informing school leavers of the wide range of apprenticeship opportunities available to them may give them the opportunity to find a true passion and train in the chosen field, thus lessening this skills gap. It's known that a lot of industries that experience higher skills shortages can have negative connotations attached to them, so working to change these perceptions is key to encouraging young people to train and begin a career. So one of the programs we run under our school engagement banner is the ASK program. So the Apprenticeship Support and Knowledge for Schools and Colleges program is funded by the National Apprenticeship Service and is part of the Department for Education. So the program is designed to give schools, colleges and other educational establishments across England free support to develop and transform how students think about apprenticeships. So this support comes in many ways. It can come in the form of assemblies, apprenticeship application workshops, careers fairs attendance, free resources, and teacher CPD sessions. So how are we involved in this programme? We are a subcontractor of the ASK programme and have a target of working with 95 schools across this academic year, helping students from years 10 to 13 understand apprenticeships, how they work, and supporting students through the application process. The programme also aims to help parents and teachers to learn the ever-changing landscape of apprenticeships, and so far this year we've worked with 84 schools and supported over 10,000 students through the ASK programme. So what are opportunity areas? A big focus of this programme is opportunity areas, and these areas are 12 locations facing the biggest challenges to social mobility. So the reasons we choose to focus on these opportunity areas is because these schools are given an enhanced offer of engagement to ensure that students are given the best chance of success. This means that each school is entitled to up to 6 activities across the year, as opposed to 4 activities for non-opportunity area schools. We deliver the ASK programme with the schools in Norfolk, Suffolk, Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, and throughout this academic year we've supported 24 opportunity area schools through this programme. This is important as it ensures students have early access to information around apprenticeships and can confidently navigate the process of searching and applying for roles. The key benefits of this work is to ensure that students are introduced to apprenticeships in a positive, meaningful and an impactful way. This work allows students to better navigate the multiple career options available to them and understand more about the opportunities that are available. So Robbie's now going to talk us through current NEET strategy and engagement across the country and the shortcomings.
Thanks, Polly. So as of 2015, as I'm sure many of you are aware, that raising the participation age strategy meant that all young people were to remain in some form of education or training until the age of 18. However, within the third sector, we've clearly seen that this does not work for many young people. And there's actually still very little public data to evidence the effectiveness of the strategy. However, Department for Education participation figures for 2017, which were reported in FE Weekly last year, actually showed a 22% increase in the number of 16-year-olds becoming NEET. Austerity has hit local authorities and the Department for Work and Pensions hard. Local authorities have to focus what little resource they have towards health, infrastructure and reactionary issues, rather than long-term social issues such as NEET young people. Equally, in job centres around the country, advisors and job coach numbers have been cut, significantly raising caseloads, and what time these advisors do have is being spent trying to implement universal credit. And as highlighted by the London Youth Study, government statistics are not to be relied upon. Poor data and lack of visibility of these young people means they're not becoming a priority. And whilst organisations like London Youth do try to shine a spotlight on these issues, there's currently no coherent strategy to effectively target the limited resources available. And typically it's been left to the third sector to not only find, but to engage and support these young people. However, it is a disjointed sector, and examples of effective cross-sector working at scale are unfortunately rare. There is a clear need for change, and for the third sector to improve its engagement with both training providers and employers by creating partnerships that provide these young people with effective end-to-end services. The third sector has become the de facto solution to the NEET sector, and it's only by developing these relationships can the third sector effectively meet the needs of the private sector.
Another group of people who are potentially overlooked when we're talking about ensuring young people have equal access to opportunities are women in certain industries, BAME, school leavers and students, for example, people who are Black, Asian, minority ethnic, and also LGBT individuals. So our agendas this year, in order to ensure that all young people have equal access to all opportunities, include increasing employment opportunities for women in STEM roles, so that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics roles, increasing employment opportunities for women in construction roles, increasing BAME engagement for wider career opportunities, social mobility engagement projects with disadvantaged young people, and also increasing employment opportunities for LGBT individuals as well. There may be an issue with diversity across sectors due to a lack of knowledge and guidance. For example, a study by Rodero Holmes found that a career in construction had never been discussed within schools to 50% of young females surveyed. In other instances, from our own experience, we know that some students simply weren't aware of the organisations or opportunities available to them, which is backed up by a survey from the Edge Foundation published in November 2018. They conclude that only 51% of young people had access to work experience and 80% of young people had never received a school visit from an employer. Additionally, we have also found that many disadvantaged students might not have the same resources or support at home compared to their peers. For example, the support at home to write a coherent CV, or a parent with interview experience or knowledge. Ultimately, this means they can be at a disadvantage when it comes to applying for roles and have less of a chance of a successful job outcome. Furthermore, according to a report published by Stonewall in April 2018, almost 1 in 5 LGBT people, that's 18%, who were looking for work, said they were discriminated against because of their sexual orientation or gender identity while trying to get a job in the last year. Furthermore, more than a third of LGBT people, that's 35%, who are looking for work are worried about being discriminated against or harassed at work due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. For BAME LGBT candidates, the likelihood of retaining a positive job outcome was even less, with 1 in 8 Black, Asian and minority ethnic LGBT employees, that's 12%, losing a job in the last year because of their LGBT sexuality or gender preference. According to gov.uk in 2017, the rate of employment was 77% for the ethnicity group labelled as white and 65% for people from all other ethnic groups. While it is clear there is a lot of work to be done to create equal employment opportunities for all, we are working towards a brighter future for all young people with a strategised and proven approach. Our school engagement officers sessions give students the opportunity to learn more about the various career options available to them upon leaving school, and also give them an equal chance of success when it comes to obtaining their role. Inclusivity is a key focus at the AIM Group, and we work with a wide range of schools and partner organisations to ensure we work with a diverse range of beneficiaries. We want to ensure that all young people feel they have equal opportunities to succeed alongside their peers. We also understand that sometimes it may be difficult for employers to engage with a particular demographic, especially as many schools close their doors to employers and third parties. Our work with schools across England allows us to bridge this gap and put employers and opportunities in front of a diverse pool of candidates that accurately represents the overall population of local communities across England. So in order to place talent into your organisation, we have a very clear process here. So the first is establishing partners in the local community. So that can be schools on the top pathway and our NEET, so not in education, employment or training partnerships as well. So they're often other not-for-profits and charities. At AIM, some of our local authority partners are losing funding towards apprenticeships. That's definitely something we've seen in the past week with Essex County Council unfortunately having to shut down their apprenticeship hub and passing the baton to us to continue their work throughout the next academic year. We're focusing more on niche engagement and getting young people into work. We recognise the importance of providing young people with support once they've left full education, and assuming they're just older enough to figure it out for themselves. We work with 750 job centres, charities and other organisations that focus their efforts on helping people into employment or training opportunities. We work closely with these organisations to ensure that their clients have the support and tools they need to have the best chance of obtaining a positive outcome. Some individuals we work with may not be quite job ready or won't have the necessary qualifications or licensing to go for the role they're interested in. In this instance, we're able to place these candidates onto pre-employment training courses where they're able to obtain the relevant qualifications and certification free of charge. For example, one pre-employability course we run is the security course, and at the end of that course they get a SIA badge free of charge, which often candidates in this pool would not be able to afford otherwise. Additionally, the construction pre-employability course we run offers them a free CSCS card so they're able to work on site once they have completion of the construction course as well. Upon completion of the course, they will join those that are job ready, working with AIM to ensure they have an industry standard CV and feel prepared to go to a face-to-face interview with an employer. This should eventually end in a positive placement. For many of our clients, we offer an aftercare service to ensure that candidates we work with are happy within their role. This can go on for as long as 3 months. We find that many new employees lack the confidence to flag any issues directly with their employer. Speaking to AIM, a third party, allows them to discuss these issues without any prejudice. We're then able to flag the issues with the employer, who is then able to put any necessary action into place. This form of intervention is an excellent way to increase retention rates and employee satisfaction. In order for all of the above engagement to be successful, there is a crucial requirement for an engagement from an employer with live vacancies. We want to work with employers like you who have great opportunities. The next slide we put together is an example of some case studies and testimonials from different people we've worked with throughout the last academic year and also this year as well. So we have a case study about M&G Prudential on the diversity and inclusion project we run with them. 2 testimonials from trusted training providers. So we have one from Victoria Addis from Ipswich Academy and one from Raymond, our main contact at QA Apprenticeships. And then we've also just popped a testimonial in there as well from one of our actual candidates who we placed into a role with SSP UK, food travel expert who, if you don't know, actually run most of the food units across major train stations and airports, not only in England but also worldwide. So I would encourage you to look at those in your own time. So just a bit about our success so far this year. So we've placed over 100 candidates in roles at SSP UK since January. We had the highest number of BAME applicants applied for roles at M&G Prudential. We've engaged thousands of young people, not only through our school engagement work, but also through social media, email campaigns, and other marketing tools. And we've also had 486 candidates interviewed by our trusted employers. So we just thought it'd be really helpful to drop in a bibliography of where we've got our statistics from, and I really would encourage you to flick through some of these articles because they can go into much more detail than we were able to during this short session, so you might actually find them to be useful resources for yourself as well. So we now come to part of the presentation where we'd be really interested to see if any of you have any questions about what we've said today in terms of practicality and in perhaps your workplace or your industry, and kind of applying this knowledge in more practical terms. So if you were to type a question in the Q&A section on your webinar screen, we can answer your questions anonymously.
We can give it a minute or two just to see if anyone wants to have a think about anything they might want to ask.
I know we've covered all the topics you wanted us to. We were all very polite, but no one's asked any questions, so that's probably a positive thing. It's good that we've covered enough bases. But our next step is to get in touch with you all. You're all established partners, and we'd really like to take the next step with you and have the opportunity to at least explore ways we can work with you to meet your CSR objectives and also positively impact and change the lives of young people as well. So we'll be contacting you all individually in the next couple of days. If you do think of a question after this, or you'd like to kind of see some more stats around some different things we mentioned, either from ourselves or just generally, definitely it's something we can discuss further. And I know Polly will be getting in touch with you on that. Additionally, we sent you over a Minor Skills Gap PDF and also a hard copy as well. So there's a bit more information about our pledges and about some other stats and different bits we're doing this year in there, including on the back our 3 main focuses for this year, which we believe align with your CSR objectives quite clearly. And of course, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to contact us as well. So these are our contact details. And just to note, we've recently launched www.theaimgroup.co.uk, which is a replacement for www.aimapprenticeships.co.uk. So what we've done is bring all of our services for learners into one cohesive area. So all of our pre-employability candidates and NEET partnerships can actually find out more about courses on there. People can find out more about vocational courses and also apply. Then we still have the all-important area for our school leavers or potential people who are interested in opportunities with the CV builder, lots of helpful resources and that kind of thing as well. So if you did want to know what our beneficiaries see, that's a great website to look at. And then in case you weren't aware, we also have our foundation website, so www.aimgroupfoundation.org, which is a bit more for you guys because it's the website for corporate partners and you can explore what a partnership will look like, what that looks like in schools, and it's also fairly informational. So that one's a little bit less interactive, but probably more prominent in terms of the information you're looking for. So we thank you so much for attending this webinar, and we will be in touch soon.